right now, before you go out and face this world, because there's going to be a lot of challenges, right, that you're about to face. And all of them have significant consequences.
Have you ever watched a couple on television and felt that something about them didn't seem quite right? They smiled for the cameras, looked well put together, and played the part of a picture-perfect pair, yet there was a strange distance in their energy. It was as if they were working too hard to convince everyone that their love was real, as though the performance mattered more than the truth behind closed doors. That was the impression many viewers eventually had of Kimmy Scott and Maurice from Love and Marriage Huntsville. On screen, they looked polished. They carried themselves like educated, successful, and mature adults who had it all figured out. For a long time, people believed their story. But if you slowed down and watched the quiet moments, you could see hints that their bond wasn't as solid as it appeared.
It was hella disrespectful, and it doesn't protect me. And now I have to answer questions from my mother?
Yeah, I didn't think about the collateral damage. To me, it was like, if I just apologize to my wife.
So now you gotta apologize to my mother.
Looking back now, it almost feels unreal how long the truth stayed hidden. Kimmy was the glue from the very beginning. She radiated a balance of grace and strength that drew people in. She didn't need to be the loudest voice in the room, and she never begged for the spotlight. Her power came from the way she held everything together with calm determination. Maurice, on the other hand, was busy building businesses, giving speeches, and attending real estate events. He had the charm and polish of a lawyer, always flashing that practiced smile that made him appear approachable and confident. Yet beneath that image, there was distance. His smile looked like a mask covering up a lack of emotional connection. The unraveling of their relationship didn't start with a messy argument or a public blow-up. It began when Kimmy received life-changing news. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. That moment should have been a test of love and partnership. Real love is proven not in Instagram posts or bouquets of flowers, but in showing up with presence, patience, and true care. When the doctor gave Kimmy the news, the silence between her and Maurice became louder than words.
Kimmy is doing as admirable as a spouse. To roll over and suffer through it, I look at it as her standing by me while I'm standing by her. There's a difference between wants and needs. I'm a person who actually needs sex, not a person who wants sex.
Why do you need sex?
I need sex like Carlos needs mess.
At first, Maurice seemed to be doing what a husband should. He went with her to medical appointments, held her hand, and stood beside her physically. But inside, Kimmy felt alone. Her body was fighting for survival, and her spirit longed to be seen by the one person who should have been her safe place. She wanted comfort, softness, and presence. Instead, she often felt like she had to put on a strong face to keep him comfortable. In one episode, she admitted how exhausting it was. It wasn't just the chemotherapy that drained her, it was the pressure of having to hold herself together emotionally so Maurice wouldn't feel burdened. Imagine enduring painful treatments, losing your hair, and facing the possibility of death while also pretending to be fine so your partner doesn't get uncomfortable. That's not partnership, that's survival. Fans began to notice. Social media lit up with questions. Why does Kimmy always look so tired? Some asked. Others wondered why she seemed distant. A few critics went further, accusing Maurice of being more focused on his businesses than on his wife's health. The silence between them became more noticeable than any argument could have been. And then the whispers began. Rumors spread that legal documents were circulating, papers mentioning separation filings, even a Grant versus Scott case. Nobody could prove the documents were authentic, but the timing was suspicious. They appeared just as Kimmy was knee-deep in chemotherapy. The speculation turned ugly. Was Maurice preparing to protect his assets in case the worst happened? Was he planning for life after Kimmy while she was still fighting for her life? Bloggers added fuel to the fire. Some claimed Kimmy had quietly spoken to a family lawyer, not to file immediately, but to understand her options. Others said she had discovered financial transactions Maurice carried out without telling her, moves designed to keep his personal and business finances separate. To outsiders, it looked like he was preparing for the end in silence. Then came the video. Blurry, brainy, but clear enough. It showed Maurice leaving a law office with another woman. They weren't simply walking together, they were laughing, touching, and moving with a closeness that went beyond professional. Fans quickly identified her as Dr. Nia Vaughn, a dermatologist from Atlanta. The internet detectives pieced things together. They noticed her popping up in the background of seminar photos, LinkedIn connections, and casual appearances. The coincidences were too many. Suddenly, the emotional distance made sense. It wasn't just that Maurice seemed detached. Kimmy wasn't actually getting the love and support she needed because his attention was elsewhere. The fallout was immediate. Hashtags like #JusticeForKimmy and #MauriceExposed spread across Twitter and TikTok. Fans who once saw the Scotts as a model couple felt betrayed. Some were heartbroken, others furious, and many simply stunned that the couple who looked so stable on TV might have only been held together by appearances. But what truly broke the internet wasn't the cheating rumors. It was Kimmy's silence. Instead of going live to rant or posting cryptic captions, she uploaded just one Instagram story. The screen was black with a single line of white text. People know exactly what they're doing. Don't be fooled by the performance. No tags, no names, just one sentence powerful enough to divide the internet. Kimmy's silence wasn't weakness, it was strength. While Maurice continued to appear polished online, promoting his ventures and keeping up the image of a businessman, Kimmy was moving differently. She wasn't begging for love anymore. She wasn't waiting for him to transform into the husband she needed. She was preparing for her own peace. The real shock came when a well-known blogger revealed that Kimmy had contacted one of Atlanta's most respected divorce lawyers. This wasn't a local attorney. This was someone who specialized in high-stakes, high-pressure cases. It showed she wasn't just hurt, she was ready to take action. Insiders whispered that Kimmy had been quietly gathering evidence for weeks. Late-night calls, text messages, photos, she was building her case. Some said the relationship between Maurice and the other woman had been going on in the background even while Kimmy fought through chemotherapy. One source claimed she found messages between them, playful exchanges, inside jokes, comments like, "You always understand me," and "I miss this." The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Imagine reading words of affection meant for another woman while you're lying in bed bawled from chemo, crying yourself to sleep. When Kimmy confronted Maurice, he didn't deny it outright. Instead, he turned the blame on her, suggesting her treatment had made her paranoid. Classic gaslighting. Instead of owning his actions, he dismissed her heartbreak as side effects of medication. That was the final straw. This wasn't only about another woman. It was about years of Kimmy carrying the weight of the marriage while Maurice posed for cameras as the perfect husband. She had tried counseling, she had prayed, she had begged him to show up. But instead of warmth, she got silence. Instead of compassion, she got deflection. Filing for divorce wasn't revenge. It was liberation. It was Kimmy's way of saying, "I'm done suffering quietly." The documents reportedly detailed more than just cheating. They listed the many times she asked for emotional support and was met with cold responses, distant advice, or no reaction at all. They painted a picture of emotional neglect during the hardest season of her life. Kimmy wasn't just mourning the loss of her hair during treatment. She was mourning the loss of intimacy, tenderness, and the sense of being cherished. Instead of hearing, "You're beautiful even without the wig," or "You're still my queen," she was told to stay strong and keep her head up. What she needed was comfort. What she received was performance. What hurt most was realizing that Maurice was capable of giving affection. He just chose to give it elsewhere. The messages with the other woman showed softness and care, the very things Kimmy longed for. That truth cut deeper than anything. Then came the financial discovery. During her treatment, Maurice had quietly separated their accounts, moving money in ways that looked like preparation for a future without her. It wasn't technically illegal, but it spoke volumes. It showed that while Kimmy was fighting for her life, Maurice was already protecting his own. That was it for her. Her fears weren't just in her head, they were real. So she made her move. And she didn't do it loudly. She didn't create chaos. She simply began living differently. People close to her noticed the shift. She carried herself with quiet strength, no longer explaining or defending. She wasn't chasing drama. She was reclaiming her peace. Meanwhile, Maurice's online presence changed. He posted more about business and less about personal life. The heartfelt husband act was gone, replaced with subtle PR efforts. But the damage was already done. The mask had slipped. Fans rallied behind Kimmy. Strangers filled her inbox with encouragement. Castmates stood by her, not just because of her health battle, but because of the dignity with which she chose herself. This wasn't reality TV drama anymore. This was real life. And the lesson was clear. Healing doesn't always come with applause or cameras. Sometimes it looks like silence, strength, and finally refusing to pour yourself into someone who only gave you drops in return. Kimmy wasn't walking toward chaos, she was walking toward peace. At the end of the day, Kimmy's story is not just about the end of a marriage. It's about choosing herself after years of silence. Viewers watched her carry grace through battles most of us can't imagine, from chemotherapy to heartbreak. She showed the world that strength doesn't always mean being loud. It sometimes means walking away quietly with dignity. For fans, this was more than reality TV. It was a reminder that behind the polished smiles and carefully staged images, real lives are unfolding. Lives filled with pain, choices, and the courage to let go of what no longer serves them. Kimmy's journey teaches us something powerful. Love should never leave you feeling alone. Support, presence, and compassion are not extras in a relationship. They are the foundation. And when those are missing, even the strongest person eventually realizes it's time to step into a new chapter. So while Maurice may have been focused on appearances, Kimmy chose something far more valuable: peace. And in that decision, she reminded everyone watching that protecting your spirit is the truest form of love you can ever give yourself.